So a very good evening to one and all. This video is for class 8 biology of course, and today's chapter is ecosystem. So today we will be starting the chapter ecosystem, but before the starting of the chapter, let me give you a brief introduction. So before the starting of the chapter, first I would like to speak about biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Bio means life and diversity means variety. Means variety of life is existing in this earth, in our planet, like plants, human beings, animals, insects, variety of lives we are having over here. That is biodiversity. And when we are talking about ecosystem is something different than biodiversity. Now, what is this ecosystem? Ecosystem means a unit which is having a connection between living things and non-living things. In more technically, we can say a unit which is having an interaction between living things and the non-living things. Now, why this living things and non-living things need to interact? For the sustaining of life in the earth, first thing. Second thing, that if the living thing won't interact with the non-living thing, then there will be no transference of energy from living to the non-living. As well as if the living thing does not interact with the non-living things, then the living thing's life will not sustain in the planet. So that's the reason why it is needed. Now, apart from this, having said all about this ecosystem and having said all about its characteristics and definition, an ecosystem is a kind of system which can exist anywhere, from a small log of wood to a big Amazon forest. These are the finest example of ecosystem. I repeat, from small log of wood to a huge space in the Amazon forest. Why? Because you can see in a small log of wood, you can find some small insects are also there. Why? Because these insects are eating the small organisms present on the wood, as well as feeding upon the organic matter of the wood. To eat those insects, larger insect will come. So a maintenance of food chain is taking place. A maintenance of proper food chain is taking place. This is what about the introduction of it. Now, let us start the chapter. So biodiversity and ecosystem, I guess you understand. Now, ecosystem is having part biotic component and abiotic component, as I have written. Biotic means living component. Under biotic component, we can find producers, consumers, decomposers. Producers, consumers and decomposers. This we can find under the biotic component, means the living component. So under an ecosystem, there will be a biotic component and abiotic component, a living component and a non-living component. The living component has to approach the non-living component. Means the living component will have a proper interaction with the non-living component. If it is not happening, then the living component of the ecosystem cannot sustain. So what happens? Biotic component and abiotic component, producers, consumers and decomposers is the part of biotic component. Now, when we are talking about producers, what are producers? Producer is the one who is producing the food. Producer is the one who is producing the food. Who is producing the food? Now, we will say, we humans will say, of course, we are getting the things from vegetables, we are getting the things from the market as vegetables, in the form of vegetables, in the form of meat, in the form of whatever the food we like, we are getting it from the farm or else from the vegetables, from the market. Either we are getting it from the farm or we are getting it from the market. And then we are cooking it, so we are the producers. No, not at all. We are not the producers. The producer is the plant. The producer is the plant. Plant is the ultimate producer of the food. We are not the producer. Producer कौन है? Producer plant है. हम लोग producer नहीं हैं. So plant is also considered as autotrophs. Plant is also considered as autotrophs. Means they are producing their own food. They are preparing their own food. That's why they are considered as the autotrophs. They are having their own kitchen where they are not utilizing any oils or anything. What we are getting is, we are getting the byproduct of the plant. What fruits the plant has produced for us. What vegetables the plant has produced for us. That we are getting, that we are taking it in our kitchen. We are putting oil and the spices and all and we are cooking it. Masala, tel dal karke usko banate hain. So that is the reason why we are not the producer. We are just eating the things what the plants are giving us. That we have to keep in mind. So that's the reason why plant is the ultimate producer of the food, and plant is also called as autotroph. Autotrophic organism means the organism which can make their own food. Now, having said all about it, about autotrophs, about producers. Now, where this plant is getting the energy from? How the plant is preparing the food? The ultimate energy is the sun. Sun is the provider of energy. The ultimate energy is the sun. Sun is the source of energy. Sun will provide the energy to all the living organism. But the solar energy of the sun is well trapped by the leaves, which is having the chloroplast and chlorophyll. And this solar energy trapped will be ultimately converted into chemical energy. That chemical energy is the food of the plant. And because of the plant, the herbivores are living. Because of the herbivores, the carnivores are living. So, ultimate energy source is the sun. Ultimate food producer is the plant, autotrophs. And because of that plant only, the herbivores and carnivores and the omnivores, everyone is sustaining their life in the earth. So you can imagine, no plant, no food. No food means all herbivores, carnivores and omnivores will be extinct from this earth. That is the reason why. Now, let's go to the consumers. Consumers are the one who are depending upon the food produced by the producers, because consumers cannot prepare their own food. Under consumers, three types are there. Herbivores, one who is eating only plant. Carnivores, one who is eating only flesh. Omnivores, the organism, one who is eating both plants also, who is depending upon the plant products also, and the animals meat also. Like we human beings, we are omnivores. We are the best example of omnivores sustaining in the earth. How it is happening? The consumers are also called as phagotrophs. P-H-A-G-O, phagotrophs. They are also called as the phagotrophs since they cannot make their own food. They are depending upon the food produced by the producers. They are depending upon the food produced by the producer. Under consumers, we are getting herbivores. What the herbivores are doing? The herbivores will feed upon the plants. Only plants. Means cow, buffalo and all. Cow, buffalo, goat, giraffe, they all are herbivores. They are depending upon plants and grasses. To eat that herbivores, the carnivores will come. Lion, tiger, dogs, cats. They are carnivores. To eat those herbivores, the carnivores has to come. Now, once the herbivores food is satisfied, once the carnivores food is satisfied, then automatically the omnivores, who is depending upon the plant also, who is depending upon the animals also, their motive is also success. How? Because if the to eat the herbivores, the goat will come. Of course, we are human beings, we are eating everything, we are omnivores, so we are eating the plant products also, like fruits, wheat, rice, everything, and we are eating the meat also. So automatically it is proved that if plant is not there, the herbivores, omnivores and carnivores cannot sustain their life in the earth. That's the reason why plant is so much important to us. They are known as phagotrophs. Means consumers are known as phagotrophs and plants are known as autotrophs. So if anyone is asking what is the difference between autotrophs and phagotrophs, very easily you can write autotrophs making their own food, phagotrophs cannot make their own food. So I hope till here it's clear to all. Now, next is the decomposers. Who are the decomposers? Small microorganisms present on the soil. They are the decomposers. So what they do? What is their main role? Their main role is to eat up the organic matter and inorganic matter. Organic matter and inorganic matter they will eat. Means the dead remains of plant also they will eat, and the dead remains of the animals also they will eat. Why? Because they are having some digestive enzymes, and while eating, what they will do? They will recycle the minerals. Means they will take some mineral from the soil, from the dead flesh, from the dead remains of the plant, and they will return also some kind of minerals to the soil by the help of their stool, when they will pass out the stool. For example, let's take the example of the earthworm. They are living in the soil. They can eat lot of dead matters, dead remains of the plants. And their stool, when they are liberating it, it is having a good value of nitrogenous waste, and that nitrogenous waste will keep on fertiling the soil. Now, if in any soil, any part of the soil, there is more concentration of earthworm, that soil will be not at all a barren one. That soil will be a yielding soil. It will yield high varieties of crops. So that is why it is very necessary. Now, day by day, what happens when we are using this plastic a lot? This is hampering the decomposers and the saprophytes. Saprophytes means one who is depending upon the dead remain of the animals. They are known as the saprophytes. One who is depending upon the dead remain of the animals are known as the saprophytes. So I guess till here it is clear to you. Now, the more and more we are utilizing the plastic and we are throwing it on the soil, these saprophytes are finding it very difficult, very difficult to digest that plastic. And in the other cases, what happens? They are dying. And that's the reason why you can see that even the soils which were once very much fertile, now barren. Why? Because the amount of decomposers are very less in that soil. Now, if the decomposer concentration is increasing, then automatically the soil fertility will be retained. So that is the reason why producer is also necessary, consumer is also necessary, and decomposer is also necessary. Out of these three things, if any of the thing is in lack of population means that thing is not present properly in that ecosystem, then that ecosystem will be a negative one. That ecosystem cannot sustain life anymore. So I hope till here it is clear. Now, next one is abiotic components. So whenever we are talking about abiotic components, means dead components, which does not require energy, but the biotic components requires those abiotic components so that they could interact. First of all, light. How light is important? If there is no light, no transpiration, no photosynthesis, the animals which are active at daytime cannot come out. For example, there are two kinds of animal based upon the category of light. They are known as diurnal and nocturnal. Nocturnal are the animals, they are activated at night. Especially those owl, bat, they are nocturnal. Diurnal animals, the animals which are activated during the daytime, cows, buffaloes, there are many. So if there is no proper light, then no transpiration, no photosynthesis means no food for herbivores means no food for carnivores, then the ecosystem may rupture, the ecosystem may damage, the life cannot sustain there. There won't be any interaction between the living thing and the non-living thing. Now, next one is the temperature. What is temperature? Temperature is needed. Why? If there is no proper temperature, there is no proper transpiration. No proper transpiration means no proper rain. No proper rain means no proper maintenance of healthy ecosystem. And if the temperature exceeding also, it may kill many animals also. And if the animals are getting killed, then there will be imbalance between herbivores and carnivores. So that is why the temperature is also necessary. If the temperature is very less, then no transpiration, no photosynthesis, no food. No food means no herbivores will be attracted. No herbivores, no carnivores. Means that ecosystem cannot sustain any more life. That ecosystem will be damaging very soon. That is what the role of temperature. Then wind. Of course, wind. So light, temperature and wind. These are the three criterias which is directly influencing the plants, the autotrophs. Why? Because no wind velocity is less, and if wind velocity is less means there will be no proper transpiration, no proper opening of stomata again, just like the light and temperature influencing the autotrophs. Similarly, the wind will also influence the autotrophs. Now, if there is no proper transpiration or no proper photosynthesis, अगर बढ़िया से ट्रांसपिरेशन नहीं हुआ, बढ़िया से फोटोसिंथेसिस नहीं हुआ, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि there will be no food processing in the plants, and if there is no food, then there will be a huge problem with the herbivores. No herbivores, again no carnivores. So these all weather factors are directly or indirectly influencing the plant, and we know the plant is the ultimate food producers. And if the plant is not only producing the food properly, then how it will sustain the life? How the life will be sustained in the earth? Now, next is the water. Again, if there is no proper water, we are human beings, so we are having a logical brain. We can dig the earth, we can get water. But what about the animals and the other living organism with whom we are sharing this planet? They are going to the river and pond only to drink the water. And if those reservoir of water is drying up, then imagine without water they will die. Now see, a very good practical example we can find few days before, and after that also two incidents took place. One, the fire in the Amazon forest, and secondly the fire in the bushfire in the Australian forests. So what happened there? Fire took place with a small quantity only, but later it increased. Now due to the fire, due to its heat, many organisms died. But after that fire, when the rain came down and captured that fire, after that fire, do we think that once the fire is gone, then the organism won't be dying? Of course not. It's a wrong notion, it's a wrong idea. There is a lot of death of organism took place after the shedding down of the fire also. After that shedding, when the rain captured the fire, when the rain thoroughly captured the fire, then also the organism died. Why? Because huge amount of producers were affected in a particular area, and the herbivores were not able to eat the food, so they need to migrate from one place to the other place, and that migration needs energy. To move from one place to other place, we all need energy, and the organisms which were very much energetic, they moved to the particular places. But the organisms who were not that much energetic, they died because they didn't get anything to eat. So that is the reason why, if the plant is hampered, if the autotrophs are damaged, then surely there will be huge damage to all the living organisms which is sustaining in the planet, which is sustaining in this planet. अगर प्लांट को कुछ हुआ तो अलग लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी जो हैं, अगर अलग जीवित ऑर्गेनिजम्स भी जो हैं, वो भी हैम्पर हो जाएंगे. They will be also dying, or they will be also getting damaged. That we need to know, because plants are the ultimate food producers. Now, talking about water. No water, the organism cannot sustain. Organism cannot sustain means maybe the producer may increase in number, or consumer number may goes down. Then also it's not a proper or sustaining ecosystem. The organism may not sustain there. The organism may die. So proper water will allow the organism to grow. Proper water will make the thirsty organism to be very much activated. And proper water will again also allow proper photosynthesis. If proper photosynthesis is taking place, then sure and certainly the organism will be living for more than their own personal lives. Means if the particular organism is dying because of natural calamity also, then at least since the organism is getting good food, good energy, they can move from one place to the other. So water is also a very necessary factor for the sustaining of life. It is carrying photosynthesis. It is it is directly needed by other organism to pacify their thirst. And at the same time, if at all the water is not there at a proper amount, then it can cause severe death of organism and the ecosystem may be damaged. Now, next one is the soil. Yes, of course, the soil is very much important. Why? The importance of the soil tells the story. If the soil is proper, then its natural scavengers, means those small microorganisms which is eating the dead remains of animals and dead remains of plants, those animals will be sustaining properly. If the soil is keep on being polluted day by day, then those organisms will die. You can see very nicely, if at all you will eat fruit and you will throw that peel outside, suddenly some kind of organism will come and feed upon it. If at all you are eating some food and you don't like and you are throwing the food, then the crow will come and feed upon it. So they are considered as natural scavengers. Scavengers, scavengers. So these natural scavengers are very much important. Why? Because they are acting as a sweepers. they are feeding upon the waste materials. You need not to take any tension. They will directly be feeding upon your waste, and it will clear up your environment. So for sustaining their lives, we need to make them very much fresh. And how we can do it? We can only attain it by not polluting the soil. If the soil is not polluted, they will be proper, no problem about it. And if the soil is fit, if the soil is having enormous amount of plants, then that soil is well fixed also. It will not get eroded. The soil erosion will not be taking place either by water or by air. Now, next one is the humidity. When the humidity is high, outside humidity is high, transpiration or photosynthesis will be affected. There will be less transpiration or less photosynthesis. But when the humidity is low, dry condition outside, if the outside condition is dry with less humidity, then there will be a highest amount of transpiration and highest amount of photosynthesis. Both are required. Now, what is humidity? Humidity means presence of moisture in the environment. Now, if there is already moisture, then how through transpiration that particular place will hold more and more water or more and more water droplets? Impossible. That is means high humidity. If already the moisture is present in the environment, then through transpiration it cannot hold up any more liquid, any more water droplets. But when the humidity is low, dry condition, then there will be perfect transpiration. And transpiration is taking place through stomata. So opening of stomata will cause the sunlight to enter and photosynthesis to happen. That is the reason why if the humidity is proper, if the humidity is less, not more, then transpiration and photosynthesis both will be very much perfect. So I hope you can understand till here. Now, next one is we will talk about food chain and food web. Now, what is food chain? Arrangement of organisms in such a way that one organism is eaten by the other. Arrangement of organism in such a way that one organism will be eaten by the other. Means grass. Let's say an example I have given here. Grass is eaten by grasshopper. Grasshopper is eaten by frog. Frog is eaten by snake. Frog is eaten by snake. And snake is eaten by eagle. So grasshopper is eaten by frog. Frog is eaten by snake. And snake itself is eaten by eagle. So this flow chart I have made to show that each and every organism is having its predator. Predator means one who is feeding upon the other organism. Now, the grass is there. Grass is an autotroph. See, again here the ecosystem is starting with the grass because it's an autotroph. So grass making its own food. To eat that grass, grasshopper is coming. To eat that grasshopper, frog is coming. To eat that frog, snake is coming. To eat that snake, eagle is coming. Means a perfect arrangement in such a manner that one organism is eating by the other. The lower organism will be eaten by its higher organism. So grass is lower than grasshopper. So grasshopper is eating grass. Grasshopper is lower than frog. Frog is eating grasshopper. Frog is again lower than snake. Snake is eating grasshopper. Snake is eating frog. Snake is again lower than eagle. So eagle is eating the snake. So the manner of arrangement is in such a way that each lower organism will be eaten. Each lower organism will be eaten by its higher one. That is what the food chain. Each lower organism will be eaten by its higher one. So I hope you can understand the food chain. So now next is the food web. Food web means interconnection of food chain. When there is more than two food chain, that is known as the food web. When there is more than two food chain. How? Let's say grass is eaten by both rabbit and the grasshopper. To eat the grass, two herbivores came. One is the grasshopper, another one is the rabbit. To eat that rabbit, fox and dog also came. To eat grasshopper, frog and some small birds came. Now, this fox, dog, frog and birds, small birds, will be eaten by its other larger animals. For example, fox can be eaten by lion. Dog can be eaten by leopard. Frog again can be eaten either by snake or by some other bigger animals. Birds, small birds can be eaten by the other larger birds like eagle or as well as vultures and all. Of course, they can be eaten. Why? Because food chain is giving us the concept behind that each such smaller organism will be eaten by its larger organism. So as far as the concept has been concerned, food web and food chain is the same, but food chain is a single unit that each organism is eaten by its other higher organism, and food web means the interconnection of the organisms. Interconnection of food web means the interconnection of the food chain, interconnection of the different organism to form a food chain. So food chain and food web, I hope you can understand this concept. Food chain, one organism is eaten by its other larger organism, and food web means interconnection of different food chains. More than one or more than two food chain together forms food web. So I hope you can understand it over here. Go through the video, match it with your text, and if any doubts you can ask. Thanks a lot.